Hey, I'm not sure if this story is interesting, but I wanted to share. I am a 35-year-old woman who works comfortably in an office job. I have a nice home. I hang out with friends. I work out and make up excuses as to why I can't work out today but definitely will tomorrow. I'm mostly normal, average even. I'm not fishing for compliments. I just know what I am, but I cannot keep a guy around. I didn't even know how to start meeting good guys until a few years ago with the boom of the dating apps. Just in case this is being read years in the future, but in the mid-2010 seconds it became totally normal to meet people online for all various levels of intimacy. You want a simple date? There's an app. You want a full-on relationship? There's an app. You want to just hook up? No worries, there's an app. All up and down the line, and most of the time it was alright. Occasionally you'd find someone who was looking for more or less than you, but most of the time it was just fine. The worst, of course, were the liars and the lunatics. I had to deal with a lot of 5'6" guys telling me they were over 6 feet tall. A lot of guys using photos from their high school years when their hair was beautiful and the chins were singular. Not that I have an issue with any of these, just don't try to hide it. Now, just so you know about me, I'm a normal looking girl. I'm not going to turn heads and I'm not going to make you divert your eyes in disgust. Like most women, I wish I was taller, thinner, had better boobs and a bigger ass. But I also love to eat and not work out. So you know, what can I expect? See, I'm honest. After striking out a few times, I'd even have some friends look at my profiles. They'd try to jazz it up, but I wanted people to know what they were getting. I'm an average girl with an appetite for life who doesn't want to be alone anymore. Then of course, you had the straight up lunatics. I've had several dates where guys were mostly interested in seeing my toes. One was interested in putting my toes in his ears. One man asked if I could record myself snoring. A few really just wanted to have sex in the bathroom. One wanted to have sex on the bar. I said no to all of those things. I'm not here to yuck anyone's fun. It's just that is a lot for a first date with a stranger, and I don't mind the random one-offs, but those can be costly. Too many of those can weigh you down. You know, the whole dating experience wasn't all awful. I had a few great ones. First there was Sam. He was so sweet. We went out and immediately hit it off. He took me bowling, which was surprisingly fun. He was kind and cute. I took him back to my place and had my way with him. He was amazing and really showed me how great these apps can be. But that lasted about a week. Then he was just gone, and I was alone again. Which brings me to Bill. Bill was a rough one. On our date he took me to honest to goodness rodeo bar. We drank too much and tried the mechanical bull. The thing launched my ass almost immediately. Bill lasted for a while and then went down hard. He fractured his arm right there, but he didn't want the night to end. We went back to my place for dessert, but just like Sam, in a few weeks, he was gone. These were two of several success stories, but that's not why you're here. You want me to go back to the lunatics, so here's the worst one. John was your average liar and lunatic. His profile said he had an explosive personality. His photo said he had lots of hair and a beard and muscles. All of this was false. We went out to eat at an average restaurant. He ordered a forgettable meal and drank table water with it. He essentially looked and acted like a Lego person. Just a blank nothing with some stray hairs around the top. The date was going nowhere fast. He didn't ask any questions and all of mine received one-word answers. He walked me to my car and I quickly slipped in, saying bye as I drove off. That was supposed to be the end of the day. I went home and drank half a bottle of wine and passed out in my bed with my vibrator. I woke up hours later to the sounds of pans clanging in my kitchen. I shot up out of bed and went downstairs. The house was dark and I could feel my skin crawling, like I knew something was wrong before I knew what was wrong. The kitchen light was on and it smelled like bacon. My kitchen is small. You walk in and there's an island in the middle with cabinets underneath. On the other side is the stove, the fridge, and John cooking something. John was wearing only my apron and cooking bacon. His lower half was covered by my kitchen island, but I could tell there was nothing else on him. "Hello," I muttered. I should have screamed something more threatening, but the whole situation was so surreal. "Honey, you're awake." He turned and smiled. "I was about to wake you, sleepyhead. I wouldn't want you missing today." His smile never broke even when he shouted as he went back to cooking. I felt like I was dreaming. "It's 2 a.m. John, what are you doing here? Wait, how do you know where I live? I wish that I had a weapon. My vibrator, a bra on, anything." "Haha, honey, you're killing me. What am I doing here? This is my house. Where else would I be? Would you like some juice?" Sure enough, there was a glass that resembled orange juice on the island. I didn't keep juice in the house. Okay, funny joke. I started to approach him when slam. He whacked my skillet onto the counter so hard he cracked the tile. "I work so hard for this family. Here I am, making you breakfast on our 35th wedding anniversary, and you cannot even sit and drink your juice," he shouted. His face was turning red, but his smile never faded. "I cannot believe you made me raise my voice like that." He returned to his usual tone, especially in front of Tiffany. "Who the hell is Tiffany?" I shouted. "Haha, honey, you're a riot. Don't tell me you forgot today was our daughter's birthday." John took his hand off the pan and reached down. He pulled up the body of a woman. She was very pretty and around my age. She was clearly drugged as he flung her onto the kitchen island. She let out a soft groan. "Now, Tiffany, surely mommy is kidding. She knows today is a special day." He took out a knife and held it to Tiffany's neck. "Mommy knows today is special, and trying to leave the house today will make Daddy very unhappy." His smile never faded. "Now, mommy, drink your juice." I did not want this woman to die in my kitchen. I also did not want to drink that definitely not juice. I walked up to my kitchen island. The bacon was burning at this point. I quickly tried to assess my situation. John was naked with my apron on. He had at least a knife. Tiffany was dressed and alive, but not completely with us. She was bound at the wrists and ankles. I was armed with my knowledge of my own home and abilities. That juice was definitely not juice. I walked up to the cup. My hands were honestly trembling, so me dropping it looked fairly natural. He froze and turned slowly, rage in his eyes, smile plastered to his face. "Sweetie," I cooed, trying to get ahead of the situation. "Can you stop cooking bacon? I don't like my food overcooked." His look softened. He looked at the near cremated scraps in my pan. He smacked his forehead playfully as if he forgot. "Duh." He chuckled. "Of course, honey, haha. Let me pour you a new drink." I walked around the island so I was next to him. He was fully erect under the apron. He went to get another glass. "I'll get the broom for the glass," I shouted. As I started to turn away, "You will sit the fuck down and do what you're told," he shouted. Tiffany groaned. "You hear that, honey? Tiffany doesn't like when mom tries to leave daddy." He placed a knife again on her neck. "And we don't want her to cry, do we?" I sat down at the island. "No, sweetie, we don't want that." He relaxed and went back to the oven. "You know, I can always go to." "Go," John shouted. "Why do you women always have to go? I'm trying to make a beautiful Christmas dinner, and everyone always wants to go." He threw the replacement glass against the wall. "Honey, it is a mess in here. Pick up the glass with your fingers while you still have them." I froze in shock. "Now," he screamed. I jumped and started to pick up the tiny shards of glass. I started to cry, not because of the pricks I got from the glass, but because I hated feeling this helpless. By the time I was done, John was standing over me. I tried to change the story. "Wow, sweetie, you really are such a big, strong man. You do such a great job providing for me and..." Fuck, I forgot her name. "Tiffany," he screamed. "How do you forget your own daughter's name? All of you bitches are so self-centered. Here I am, a nice guy who works hard and I get nothing. He was now gripping Tiffany with one hand while lightly scraping the knife along her back. I'm glad she was barely conscious for this. I screamed again, trying to play along. I did not want anyone to die in my kitchen. You have me in this beautiful house that you built. He stopped with the knife and took his hand off her. He never stopped smiling. It's time for my present, he hissed. For our anniversary? No, it's my birthday, John again shouted. He went into a brief rage and sliced Tiffany's cheek. She started to wake up a bit. I can't believe how awful of a wife you are. Do you know how many other women have died because they weren't special like you? So many. His face was blood red, but he never stopped smiling. But you're just like all the others, and I need to teach you a lesson. I need to give you my present. He grabbed Tiffany by the hair and dragged her. He grabbed my hair and did the same. He opened the door to my pantry and slammed it shut. He dragged us into the living room, but a car drove by, illuminating the room for a moment. No, not in here, he muttered. Where can a man do some thinking around here, he screamed. He started to rub his still hard dick on Tiffany's face through my apron. The basement, sweetie. At the end of the hall, I stammered. I know where my own basement is, he shouted back. He dragged me and Tiffany into my basement. He had trouble opening the heavy door, but he managed. I knew the game was almost up with him, and if something didn't happen soon, I would be dead. He kept muttering to himself about how underappreciated he is. After decades of hard work trying to build a family, this is how you treat me. I had one last move to pull. Sweetie, we were just kidding. We didn't forget about your birthday. Your present is in your man cave. I indicated the door in the basement. He stopped holding the knife to Tiffany, who was starting to come around. He was puzzled, but then remembered his own sick fantasy and corrected himself. Of course it is, he said pleasantly. He dragged us over to the door. And this present better be everything I want. He caressed himself and licked the knife. You will see, I don't want to ruin the surprise, I spat out. Okay, let's go. As a family, he dragged us to the door. I want to always remember this perfect moment. He stopped talking when he opened the door. What the fuck? He let go of Tiffany and me and started to dry heave. The cold air of my walk-in freezer wafted over us, as did the smell. I took this opportunity to lunge, mouth open, and took a bite out of his throat. I gulped it down and he looked at me in shock. I grabbed what little hair he had left and yanked him back like a Pez dispenser. I took 2 more big bites out of his neck and let him fall to my floor. Like I said, I don't like my food overcooked. John clearly was not expecting to see the bodies of my previous dates. There were a few in there. Most of them have been eaten down to the bone, but I recognized Billy by his broken arm. As John convulsed gurgling blood, I took another bite out of his neck. I'm an emotional eater. I now had 2 problems. The first was that my freezer was getting full from these dates, and I hate to see food wasted. The second was Tiffany. While the poor girl should not have been dragged into this, she not only saw my pantry full of dead men but saw me eat a guy. As a feminist, I've never eaten a woman before, so I don't know what to do. Tiffany, who was now fully back with us, started to talk. Okay, Tiffany muttered. Now I understand why you didn't call the cops. I chuckled in acknowledgement. I just want to go home, Tiffany said as she undid her bindings. I didn't see anything. I don't know you and I don't know where I am. My name isn't Tiffany. You don't know me. We are strangers. I just worked with that guy. He used to leer at me every day. We had a company happy hour, and that dickless shit drugged me. He threw me in a trunk and called me Tiffany. I don't care what you do with him. She started to stand up. Just let me leave. I will never come back. Swallow him whole if you can. No one will miss him. I remained silent, contemplating the ifs. She started to back away and then turned to run. She was still a little drugged, or she might have been faster. She made it to the stairs before I got her. I took her down swiftly and aggressively. I immediately bit her ankle tendon to keep her from running. I then dug into her midsection teeth first, I was so stuffed when she finally stopped squirming that I had to undo the drawstring on my PJs. I didn't want her to die in my kitchen. I didn't mind if she died in my basement. She knew John. Even if she didn't tell anyone right away, there's too much of a connection. If he gets reported missing and they reach out to people in the office, and if someone saw John and Tiffany leave and only one comes back, it could be enough to crack her. I would have to move, and how many houses have a storage freezer in their soundproof basement? In this economy, it would be a whole thing. Eating Tiffany just made things easier. Sorry, Tiffany, but you had to be dessert. I woke up the next morning in a haze. I was in a food coma and bloated as hell. Thankfully it was Friday, so I had the whole weekend to meal prep. While cooking John, I rummaged through his wallet. I found a business card indicating that he worked in an office park across town. I drove his shitty car there, walked a few blocks, and then ordered a cab home. I'm sure John and Tiffany will be reported, but there's nothing to connect them back to me. Just like my other dates, I then spent the rest of the weekend cleaning and eating. John might have been the worst, but he tasted amazing. Even though I like to spread out my dates, every time I thought of what John did to me, I would eat more of him, even if I was already stuffed. Like I said, too many one-night stands can really weigh you down. Tomorrow, I'm definitely going to work out. I also updated my online dating profile. I am now fully open to meeting up with women. Tiffany was also delicious, and the way I figured it as a feminist, I am an equal opportunity eater, and couples, for cheat days. Sure, I may be different, but at least I'm not a liar. Shout out to my superfans, Sweet Black Swan and Brooklyn. I really appreciate you guys supporting my channel, and I look forward to making more content for everyone.